It is not exactly time yet, right? But you know, you guys, I cannot wait. So just let's get started. I hope you're comfortable, have a good position. I hope your Monday is a great one, and let's go and do some game dev today. It might be incredibly bright for you guys, and I'm sorry if it is. I cannot really change much on the background, I think, of Word. At least I have it already in the mode for being dark mode, but for whatever reason, I don't think the pages themselves can change to dark mode. Um, but this is a little bit of the idea that I have for the first level, and I want to start tweaking that a little to make that a bit more elaborate, a bit more interesting, so we have at least a little bit of gameplay and a little bit of an introduction. And from that, we can start to get basically more of a feel of what we're going to be needing for this first level to look complete. Um, for example, I wrote this a while ago, and I'm not 100% happy yet with how it goes, especially the part here where we end the near of the bridge. And at the end of the bridge, you already see a portal made of the swirling green energy, which is surrounded by twigs and leaves everywhere. I find it a little bit too fast. What I also don't think it is very logical that near the drawbridge we find a portal coming out of the ground. What would be much more logical and also more fitting is if that is, for example, near the Vondelpark in Amsterdam. So for that to happen, we need to cross further, get into the park. There's a park, of course, there, um, and you will pass before that the museum that we have been drawing. So that makes also more sense in what we have art wise, so that we can actually use everything that we already made and make it interesting. So what I want to try to do here is let this intro, because basically this is a cutscene. We want to have this basically on a rail. This will happen. We don't have any control here yet. And as soon as we get here, we start to learn how to move. So not that it's hard to move, but we will get control over Gaia, and she will still need to go towards the drawbridge. Um, and that might be a little bit longer so that we actually have something to see there, right? So a little bit more interesting gameplay. Maybe let her jump a little, which I don't think so, because I really want them to jump for the first time with the drawbridge. That would be the most logical moment for them to learn jumping. Um, and then after the drawbridge, it should keep going for a while, um, and just basically until we get to the Vondelpark, where we actually get the portal, and you see Greece through the portal, so that the player already has a sense of, hey, something is happening, because at the end also I say that looked like Greece, and then we have to find a way to get her back. That will be the end of the intro level, so you already get to see a little bit of Greece. uh, you hear her little brother talk also, and he will be all the time basically out of the camera, same as me, or maybe we will do that different at the end. If so, I will have to design myself and Luca also in pixel art. I haven't done that yet, so might be really a thing that we want to do. I'm not sure about that yet. So I'm hoping to first basically get this more interesting, and then we can start to block that out, or maybe at least set up the elements that we're expecting in the level, um, and then try to make that gameplay wise a little bit more interesting. Because yeah, that's basically what I want to do. I want to make this interesting. I want to make this first level. I'm terrible at level design, as I already stated in the title of this stream. I'm not great at level design, but I want to learn. I'm going to have to learn, because otherwise I will never get there. So um, yeah, well, let's get started. I don't know if there's anybody already watching. Seems pretty quiet, but it doesn't mean anything. Sometimes people are just quiet. Just want to check. I don't see anyone. Okay. Um, so let me start by basically changing this story a little bit so it gets a little bit more flowy, interesting. So this first part I'm pretty okay with. We can start in front of the bakery. Um, so you fade into Gaia. We see her first. We see her dress. Her name is Gaia, and there's going to be voiceovers to make sure that the blind people also know what's happening here. She stands in front of an old Amsterdam bakery decorated with flowers, so that kind of stuff. Um, the bakery I already have. I need to decorate it with some trees, flowers, whatever, and some seagulls on the roof making their typical sea sounds. And far behind her are dad and brother Luca. So we won't be able to see them, but we will be able to hear them. So then you get a little bit of a dialogue. That could be that could really be what we see and hear. Might be that we make her move a little bit every now and then. So that is something we have to see, and I have to learn how to use a Unity timeline for this because I really still don't understand that for the life of me. But you're gonna have to learn one day, and then we will be able to get it. So yeah, she wants to listen, but hey, young girl, she doesn't always listen to the parent and gets distracted by whatever she sees around her. And she sees the canals, colorful houses, bikes, boats, and she, and in the end, gets to the drawbridge that's just starting to open. So, um, and I have to tell her, hey, you gonna go? You gonna go? And then she will want to go there anyway. So as a player, you're not gonna be listening to daddy. You're just gonna do what you want as to do as Gaia, and you're gonna go to that drawbridge, obviously, because that's where you want to go. Um, For this part, I'm still pretty much okay with that will be okay. So she will have to run towards the bridge. And basically, I think we're going to have to make sure that no matter what the player does, if they go left or right, they will eventually be able to get to the bridge and jump. And nothing else will happen until she jumps. But yeah, she listens to the sounds of the water splashing against the walls. Then she realizes the bridge is opening too far and starts to run. So we're going to have to probably take the control back a little bit and make sure that she learns that, yeah, she has to jump here. But what I am definitely not happy with is this part. Um, this portal should not be here yet. So I'll take this out. So then we will learn that we have to use the jump key to jump. And she will, whoa, what's that? But that's probably going to be taken out now because that's about the portal that she doesn't see. Uh, so we take this out. Runs up the sloping bridge, then jumps off the edge and lands safely on the other side. She runs towards the portal. That's something I don't want yet. Uh, the bridge. That's basically going to be what we want to do. And yeah, this could be like, what are you doing? It's not safe to run off like that. This is a big city. And this will go later. So run. Goes running into the neighboring park. Of course, the Vondel Park, for those who don't know, it's pretty damn close to the Rijksmuseum. And the Rijksmuseum we are already starting to make. Uh, Probably. probably pretty easily make that into a reality. So we will have a little bit more reason to have something come out of the ground. A little bit more. Mm. So we're going to have to um, show a little bit of the park. So we will see first the gate that she will run through. And as soon as she goes through the gate, we will see a little bit of the park before we actually see the portal rise up from the ground. Um, and then that makes a lot more sense, at least for me. Um, the portal and disappears. The portal vanishes before Max and Luca can follow. Yeah, so considering the script I wrote for this part, um, it would be logical if we actually see Max and Luca. And what I'm wondering, I guess, because I'm not 100% sure how long and if this will be good enough. If this is going to be long enough to keep people interested for an intro level. It feels short because it's only basically 2 pages and a little bit. We might have to fill that up with more interesting stuff, stuff that you can point at, maybe like the cheese store, people running in and out, and stuff like that. So that that level feels very alive. But yeah, of course, I cannot foresee everything while I'm writing, but this gives at least an idea of what we can do with this level. So I wanted to start maybe blocking that out in a level, um, trying to get this stuff to actually look right. Yeah. So I guess we're gonna have to go there um, and start this level and basically try to figure out as we go along building that up. Because I have this very empty level right now. We can start to basically block out these parts, maybe put in the items that we actually already have so that we show something, we see something, and that makes more sense for the entire direction of the game. But yeah, it's still going to be trial and error. I'm going to have to figure this out. I could go back to the original scene and trying to build off of that, but I'm not 100% sure I want to do that. So mm, I'm not. Yeah. let's let's see what is smart. Would it be smart to start with that or not? Because I have this Amsterdam level, obviously. You guys have seen it before. It has the bakery already. It has Gaia and some stuff that it will take out for now. So the Ambrosia small and Ambrosia big are not here yet. Very funny that I always have this somehow until you've never seen this guys before. But once I run this, then suddenly this is poof bigger. Sometimes it's even completely black when I start, but this is it's a little stupid, but okay. We got this, and we're gonna start with this basically. So mm, I'm thinking that I'm gonna build up the level, so the things that we're gonna see here, and a lot of things will be blocked out. So we're gonna just put some buildings here, put some backgrounds, and start to move that around. Um, and then somewhere here, we're gonna be putting in the bridge, and we're gonna keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going until we finally get to a park. Um, and from there, we get the portal that we already have also, well, partly at least, and then start to actually see how we can make this functionality work and if we can make it interesting. Because that for me still is the hardest part of all of this to make the things interesting. Because, yeah, like I said before, um, I'm not a level designer. I'm not a designer anyway. So I'm trying to do my best with this, but it's hard. I really find it hard. You know, I even, because I couldn't find any good tools for this stuff, I even bought these kind of papers. So I have a little book that I can start drawing in, um, basically to plot out my levels. Haven't done much of it yet, and the thing is, if I do that now, you guys will not see it basically because I have no camera from the top. Otherwise, you could put it right there. But I think it's going to be easier and probably also nicer for you guys if I just start uh, inside of Unity and put some buildings here. Um, yeah, basically let her once we get the Unity timeline working, kind of a thing that we need to do. Um, Let her walk first up to the bakery and zoom in on her as she looks at the building, finds it interesting, and tells to her dad what is happening. We're going to have to figure out some places where we actually put triggers for sound, how to do that, where to put dialogue, because we're also going to have dialogues. Then we're going to have to look at the options menu, like how do we set up the options just so a blind person can select those options, how, where, you know, those kind of things are going to be extremely important, and I have to figure it out as I go. So yeah, I find I'm very much talking to myself today. It's really a little hard, but we're gonna get there. Anyway, so let's zoom in a little bit. We start with Gaia all the way here. So she's still not doing anything. I'm not gonna put anything yet of dialogue. I'm just gonna block it out, trying to figure out some things that will be buildings later, putting them in and setting some backgrounds to make it interesting. Hopefully. I'm not going to be good enough saying that it will actually be interesting, but I hope it will. Um, so yeah, what I'm gonna be doing, I guess, is putting multiple things in the foreground, like the bakery. Kind of- So I'm gonna put some stuff on the same place as the bakery is. So the bakery you have here, it's in the building sorting layer. So we're gonna have to put more buildings, and we're gonna put them on the same sorting layer so that they are always behind our player, basically. And I think later on, but that's for dressing up the level. We will get some items that are in front of Gaia, as well as behind her to make the idea of three-dimensional and depth come more. Really having a bad case of the Mondays today. Anyway, um, so let's move this a little bit to the left, a bit earlier on level. I'm gonna have to do a lot of panel walls that are coming there. The baker has to move himself as well. Not outside. And let's I'm going to make an empty one here, buildings. Makes a little bit more sense so we can put them all together and I put the bakery in there. Boom. Oh, let's, before I do that, see if it's not reset. I want to reset that. And put the bakery inside and we'll put more buildings to fill up. So let's put right, let's put a square. I'm just going to call this whatever. This is definitely not going to stay there, obviously, as you would probably have guessed, but I need to make sure that I have some buildings and I put them somewhere. Buildings, see the height. Put it, like, I want to put it closer to the other one. And we're going to have some space in between some of the buildings. So that's how you will have some difference in depth, because then you can show other things behind it, right? So we will have a little bit more ongoing depth. And of course, this building needs to be a bit more space. Let's put it actually there. Then let's finish that thing. Oh, do that up. And they don't all have to be the same height, obviously. Let's see if we can do like 2 and 75 or something, just to have a little bit easier reference. And let's make this a color pink or something. Like a color yellow. I'm gonna make a second building. Let's put this out a little closer to the other one. And this one is going to be a bit higher. It's just really blocking things out. Different color. Let's make that gray. Make it a bit wider also. 0.5. Looks nice to me. Oh, that's the height, by the way. Oh, yeah, 3.5. I want to try and keep them a little bit like um, correct in size. Let's see, 2 is, yeah, it's good enough. 6.5. And then let's go and, because also when I have this a little bit more set up, then I can start doing the parallax effect also. So we can see that everything is moving a bit better um, to get some things going on. 3. If you're here, would be nice if somebody says something so I don't feel so lonely. It's kind of lonely if you guys don't talk. I mean, I love doing this, but it doesn't mean that I don't want anybody to talk. It's always nice if you guys say something. Scale like 2.5 maybe with this one. And then we should have some small ones, maybe some double ones and different colors again. Let's go. Mhm. 9.5, and let's make it a little lower. When you change that position, usually also changes. I want this to be 5.5, but to be on the ground. That's the hardest part always for me because sometimes it just moves it too much. Anyway, we'll be behind the wall, so we don't see it, then it's fine. Yeah, we can keep going like this, of course, for a long time because we're going to see a lot of buildings. But this one, let's put this more like a almost white color, just to have some variation. Mm. 13.5. Vision stays the same. I would say make it less high and a different color and a little more narrow. Let's put more like this. Let's make two of these. Together. That would be nice to see later. Before we do anything else, let's see how that looks when you play the game. Looks pretty okay. Obviously, we will need to replace that with actual buildings, but we have something going on here. Hey, so I guess around here, what we will want to do is actually put the bridge flashing. So weird. I never understood why that happens. Uh, I need to get the bridge element in again. I don't think I have that here yet. So check. No. Go to my file browser and let's go to my project. To game dev, Gaia, project art. We have to draw a bridge. Element. I'm gonna have to figure out a little bit here. Do this quick because we already make this before. Whoa, Patrick! Hello. Thank you for this thread. Thank you for interacting. Now we don't feel so alone. Well, you were very enthusiastic with all those stretches that you want me to do. It's going to cost you a lot of points. That's a shame. But welcome, welcome, Patrick. Nice to see you. Starting to think I was doing this stream today all alone, but you're here, so that's always good. I'm going to see if I can just basically open up the project that I used to use, the Gaia project. There was a mistake in there somewhere and it didn't work as I wanted to, but I already had a drawbridge in there. So if I can just copy that over and put that in here, that would be very useful. So, well, thank you, Baka Bros, for the raid, and thank you for bringing your people over. Um, I'm just in the middle of loading up my old project that I had for this, because I want to just take over some things that are here. Um, but to show you guys what I'm doing, I'm trying to block out my first level. I first started with showing a little bit of the script that I have for the introductory level, where we start to get familiar with Gaia, who she is, and what she's going to be doing. So we have a little bit of a part that will be in a Unity timeline, where she goes through the level. We learn that she's very stubborn, doesn't listen to that, and then we take control over Gaia and start learning how to move, to jump, and in the end, she will end up in a park where a portal just appears from the ground, set up by the goddess Gaia herself, and she goes into the world of Greek mythology. Leaves me and her little brother behind, all stumped like, what the heck was that? That looked like Greece. We have to find a way to get her back. And that's going to be basically the intro level. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to expand this a little bit, but I wasn't sure yet how. So I can show you a little bit of what I have. I was blocking this out, and I'm trying to make this more interesting. Of course, we have the bakery. The bakery is my pride. I'm really happy with this one. And then we have some buildings. I'm gonna have to parallax this stuff, but I wanted to just get a little bit of a feel of how the level's gonna look before we get to the drawbridge, uh, and how to do that. And basically, and thank you for the follow, by the way, Backup Game Bros. Very nice. Backup Bros Game Dev. I have to say it correctly, otherwise it won't work. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna get I have to get a feeling of how long things are, how much more I need to make before I actually have a level that's interesting enough to play as an introductory level. Especially with the fact that I'm gonna have to make this. I'm gonna have to make that. I want to make this game completely accessible, so this should be able to be played later by the blind, by the deaf, by people with a physical disability. It doesn't matter if you have any or you don't have any disabilities. You should be able to play the game when I'm finished. That means also that my level design, as it sucks right now, it's gonna have to improve a lot. Also, basically to figure out how do I make this interesting enough that somebody who doesn't have a disability can play it and find it interesting, and somebody who does have a disability will be able to play it and enjoy it as much as somebody without it should. So I hope you guys find that interesting. It's what I'm working on. I can show you some more of the art if you want to. Please let me know if there's anything you would like to see. I would gladly show you. My old project had a little bit more. As you can see, I already was working here. I have my drawbridge that will be opening. She will jump over it. It's a work in progress. As you can see, it's not finished, but it looks already a bit more filled, this part of the level, but somehow the controller just broke. It didn't work anymore. And since then, I've been learning much more about how to use the cameras in Unity. So now I have the camera zoom in on you when you're standing still and zoom out as soon as you start walking, so that you can get a little bit more of a feel of what that will do. This cheese store, by the way, is an old one. I've already changed that. Let me, by the way, just show the A sprite, and you can see some of the pixel art. What about people who are missing both arms? That's a disability. Yes, actually, um, you remember that I was doing a game jam game, right, the other day? I was trying to do that. Let me show Poseidon. Poseidon is one of the characters I made for as soon as we get to Greek mythology. And what happens with people who are missing both arms? Yes, they can actually play. And for that, you should check out the stream of Arivia, which is the one that I um, called my game jam game, my main character after, the dragon. She's called Arivia. She plays with her feet. So it is entirely possible for somebody who doesn't have any arms to play games. They have different controllers and it works. I didn't know it either. I've never seen it before, but it is possible to play a game using your feet if you have the controller set up, like for example, for a PlayStation controller. So yeah, here, Arivia, that's the name of the person who's actually streaming um, about playing with her feet. So yeah, this little dragon was Arivia for me. So I wanted to make a game for her, but I never got around to it. I don't have that much time. Um, as many of you guys know, I basically am able to stream once a week, every Monday. That's most of the time also the time that I have to spend on building my game, which is way too little, obviously, and I'm gonna have to do something about that, or hire people to follow my designs and keep going with that. But um, what I wanted to show you guys is the cheese store that I have now, which looks a lot different from what you saw in the other version. Like if you look at this, that's what I was working on, and yeah, doesn't look like much. I was just thinking I could do up here something like the hook that you see sometimes in those Amsterdam canal houses that they used before to move furniture, because you know Amsterdam, everything is narrow. So these doors and the hallways and the stairs, they're usually too narrow to move your furniture through. So what did they do? They always have these hooks on the top, and you can just see that people will pull up their furniture and go through the windows instead of going through the doors. And that is something that's pretty unique for the Netherlands and for Amsterdam, and something that I wanted to at least try and show somewhere in the game. I might still do that, but at the moment I'm liking the other style that I have a little bit more. So like this cheese store, I like it much better. It has more feeling. It's not done either, but it has more of the feeling that I want. I'm not happy with the woman inside, but let's see what we can do with that. And I was working the other day on this canal cruiser, so this will go through the canal later. Gonna have to look different, but almost the idea is there. We're gonna have to have windows in here. You can see maybe people sitting inside. So yeah, this is also some of those little filler ups that later we will need to have going through the canal to look a little better. And yeah, there's several things that I have here that I've been working on, and yeah, I'm hoping obviously to get a lot more of that done. But now I just need to start really working on creating this level and making it at least playable so that we can start doing stuff. But it's a very good question, Patrick. Thank you for that one. So I'm gonna have to see where I did the bridge. It was in the ground level, the drawbridge. If I can just basically copy that over from one project to another, that would be absolutely amazing. But I don't think so. That would be awesome if that was possible. I'm sure that's somehow possible, but nope, cannot. But I can make probably a prefab out of this and then put that prefab over into uh, just copy it over to this level. But it's going to be tough because we need to put all the different parts. Not so happy about that yet. I'm going to have to figure this out. But in this one, if you push play here, you would see that probably now Gaia is not doing anything. Yeah, she just stands in the air. But you see that the drawbridge already opens and the chains move with it. That's the idea. Um, and in the end, she will be able to jump from this side to the other. That's the idea of the drawbridge. That's where the people will start to learn how to actually jump. And yeah, you see that the right side of the bridge was not correct yet, but the left side was. And I'm gonna have to try and recreate that now because unfortunately I cannot just put it like I want it. But yeah, I'm gonna get it right. Gonna take some time though. But if any of you guys who just came in have questions or want to know something, uh, don't hesitate. I happily will answer any of your questions. I like talking to you guys. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't make the progress any slower because it's already slow anyway. So don't feel bad. It's not something I would feel bad about either. So, but this is going to be part of the ground layer. So we have a lot of canal walls, as you can see, and I'm going to have to go with the other part of the canal, and obviously it will expand. Um, so we're going to have to put the drawbridge in, and this is going to really take me a while to do. So I'm going to figure out where I had all the parts of the drawbridge. I think I had them separate. Yes, I did. That's at least good because I can make a folder myself and just take all those things in. And the drawbridge will really need an upgrade later, because I'm not 100% happy with most of the parts, especially the ones that go towards the water. That needs definitely some improvements. But let me at least put it in the project. Give me a moment. We do that. Sure again. Let's make a subdirectory here. Folder. That is part of my more elaborate mechanic that will need to be in the game. So no, I should directory in here. Where is it? Drawbridge. There you go. That's all the little parts that we have for the drawbridge, and they are a lot, really. So I know how I build it up in the first one, so I just gonna basically make the same, make the drawbridge, put those little things, and then we're gonna have to animate it and put the sounds in for it. Also, that the sounds for the drawbridge will have to be redone. I like that it sounds like a chain, but it's a little bit maybe too much. And I probably will want something like the bell that you sometimes hear when it's time for the bridge to open. Um, those kind of triggers should let the player know, hey, there's something going on. You really need to do something now. Something is gonna happen, and you need to move now. Especially for people again who are blind, because they need that trigger. They need to know that there's something that they have to be doing. So, um, yeah, basically, let's put in a new element called drawbridge. Empty drawbridge. 0, 0, 0. That's good. And put in the different parts. So let's see which one is what. Left ground. Let's start with the left ground and put it in place. Right renderer. Left ground. Left ground. Left ground. Okay, which one? Ground. Drawbridge. Left. Port. Okay. There we go. Where is it? That's also good to know. Obviously too far away. This for me is the hardest part. Okay, this is only for fun. Don't take this question seriously. What about people who are only torso and head are blind and deaf? Can they play somehow? Um, Not at this time, because I really would not know yet how to cater for that. Because yeah, if you have no arms and no legs, you're not able to hold a controller or anything. But I could see possibilities where we eventually will learn how to do that with, for example, virtual reality goggles and voice control. I could see that possible. So that would mean basically that whoever doesn't have arms or legs and, and they're and deaf, blind and deaf will be also a very hard combination because, yeah, the only thing you could do then is basically let them feel sensations. And I don't think you will be able to truly experience the game that way. You will be able to feel the game, but that's you don't know what's happening. So I think that combination is a bit too much. Um, but yeah, that is pretty much the idea that I don't think that that's going to be possible. You can do a lot of things nowadays, but they have some things with virtual reality. I think at the moment that people who even cannot see can somehow experience vision. I don't exactly know how it works, but I've seen it before that it does exist. But yeah, I think that's going to be like too much next level, and I'm not able myself, at least, to do that. But yeah, I mean, missing arms and legs is already hard enough because then you really are going to have to go with voice control and stuff like that. But deaf and blind means you cannot experience a game's vision and you cannot also hear it. So I think that's going to be pretty tough. But who knows? The future is not written, and there might be some techniques that I don't know about yet that actually will make that possible. Could very well be. But that's an interesting question because I really wouldn't know the answer yet. But if you do have an idea of how that would work, please let me know. I would love to know that. But I do take things seriously. I always do. You never know, right? Something could actually be there. What if that actually is going to be possible in the future? You don't know. I don't know. Possibility. The railing. Left. Yep. And of course, that's going to be also all the way up there. To move it all the way over. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, so the left pillar, that's that one. Empty bridge. I'm probably gonna have to move this stuff around soon. But yeah, see it when that happens, right? If you're wondering why I put the drawbridge into all these tiny little pieces, that is because I want to be able to move things separately. Makes it hard, I know, but if I don't do that, then basically my level is going to be really hard to control. Uh, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but it's pretty tough to um, control the drawbridge elements separately if they're all connected. And I was thinking first to animate the entire drawbridge so that it will all open, but then how do I change within the animation which part of the bridge I can actually walk on? So what I did instead is you're going to have the movable ground, and you'll see that in a moment because I will just put that in a moment. So this left arm, for example, is this thing, but you have the, where is it? Left ground moving, that's this part. That will actually rotate, and it rotates on a joint here so that it will go open like that, right? And that means that I can put the collider only on this part so that it can just stay around this. And that means that if it animates, it will just go along. But if I do the entire bridge, I'm not entirely sure that it will just move with it. I don't think so, actually, because then this part, it might move, but it doesn't know that this the collider also needs to move with it. So maybe I'm completely wrong and I'm just doing it the hard way. I'm just the guy not knowing anything and just learning at the moment, right? So um, I don't feel bad that I don't know everything. So I also have these anchor parts that will hold the chain that you have right here, and then you have the chain that connects, so a lot of links, so that it moves like a chain and it feels like a chain. But that was tough, I can tell you. It's not an easy thing to make. But yeah, of course, I could try to do that animated as well, and that way you would have a chain that just gets animated. I might still go for that, but I'd have to change that later on. At the moment, I just want to have the bridge in. I might, in the beginning, also now not put in the chain because I just want to have the functionality of the bridge opening, so you can walk over and then jump. But the chains are gonna be there for sure in the game when it goes right. So it's not like they will just not be there. The next one was the arm, right? Yeah, and that has the anchor, but I will leave that out for now. And empty here again. Arm. Yeah, that's arm. That's arm. But those are some very nice questions, Patrick. I really like answering those. To see if that was in front or behind it. I think in front of it. Because of an order and layer change. Right? On top. It was, by the way, one of the first pixel art things that I was making, that drawbridge, because for me, this really signifies a very important part of the first level. And without it, it wouldn't feel right, right? You need that bridge for them to learn to jump. So, um, yeah, that really. We have the bridge left arm chain. Yeah, that's the chain that I don't want to put yet. That one, and the chain, which is that one. The gray box, and I think I'm going to replace that also, but it's just, it was there. I'm going to leave it out for now and just put the bridge left ground moving. So that will this part, that we can actually make sure that we can actually start moving that later. Put the sprite renderer Just moving around. There we go. Oh, nice that it puts all the way here. Anyway, you guys, today everybody's very quiet today. Probably everybody has a case of the Mondays, and I understand. Monday can be a very tough day, but don't worry, you'll pass through, and before you know it, it's Tuesday again, and you will feel all the way fine again. What I was afraid of, it's not connected yet. Nope. Oh, good enough. So for that, I will have to set its pivoting point here. I did that before on the script, but I don't have to. I figured out that I can just animate this part to go up and this part also to go up, and I will do actually basically the same, just a little easier, basically. Okay, so we have that part of the bridge, and now we will basically need to copy everything to the other side of the bridge, so we get the same area again. So I can just copy these, Control D, all of them. Correct name, pipelines, railing, pillar, and the right moving grounds. And we're going to have to put the correct ones in there. So the right ground will be the right ground export. Put that to the other side, but let's do first, let's change everything first and then put in the correct place. Railing, on arm, and moving ground. I just realized this is 100% opposite of game Doom. You're gonna have to elaborate on that. That one kind of stumps me. I don't know what you mean with that. Basically, I just move this one. Say, I have to see. Moving so I can connect it. Hmm. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to just work like that. So, did I left, right? Where are you? Right. So I would say that that should be exactly the same. For whatever reason, they don't go together. The right ground is higher. That's weird. I'm gonna have to put that down to connect. But the ground moving, I want to have it basically almost touching. Uh, Ground should be lower. I don't know why it's lower, because it shouldn't be, right? Instead of demons, you kill gods, and you are a little girl instead of a grown man. And I don't think she will have a full arsenal of guns. No, she will not have a full arsenal of guns. What she will have, though, is the help of the goddess Gaia herself. And the goddess will be able to help her in some smart ways by giving her access to things that actually can kill gods, or at least dispose of them in a way without actually having to kill them. I'm not sure yet. I'm still working on that, like how much of violence can actually be used in a game where the main character is a 5-year old. It's it's a thin line where you have to be extremely careful that you don't go overboard, or you might have a lot of parents who go crazy with you. So I'm kind of still on the fence about that one. No clue. I think it's just a little off towards the other one, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Should work. Okay, filling that up. And here also we have found out now. Oh, actually not. This is actually perfect. But yeah, you will indeed be fighting gods at least. If I will actually have Gaia kill them or incapacitate them, that is something I will have to figure out. But she will definitely be fine. Okay, so we have the drawbridge in place, and we now see that we need to make our clouds and sky a bit bigger. So, for now, this one, but keep going, please. And I will probably move that, um, those two, quite a lot to make them not centered. Like for now, it's centered. I want to have them start basically at the beginning of the level, maybe a little bit more to the left so you don't feel like there's a gap there. But beyond that, it should be basically at the edge. There's a few names in there that probably are just bots. Like, I'm so curious. Okay, so we already have a little bit more level. It's good. Uh, Basically, make sure that the ground and ground to move on have colliders to collide. Let's put on a polygon collider. Mhm. And we have to check it really good. But I think your game will be God of War for kids. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that sounds pretty much right. Um, but not that the game will be actually for kids, because That's also not my idea. My idea is that everybody will have fun with this game. At least I hope so. So that means that it's going to be interesting enough for adults as much as for kids. It should not be like mega violent, because then for kids it's basically, yeah, not done. But it also should not be like super faint of heart, because I do want it to be a little interesting also for grown-ups. This for me is always the hardest part, all those colliders. Don't know about you guys, but if you have to make colliders a little bit precise, that is such a boring job to do. But it does make the game feel a bit better, so I guess it's worth it. Worth it. Because you don't want to get stuck everywhere, you know? But that's also the advantage of having a polygon collider. You can just basically make it fit the entire part. Like, well, not perfect. Well, you could do it perfect, but I'm not patient enough to do it perfect yet, at least. Will you will you have secrets in your game? Oh yes, I will definitely have some secrets in the game. I have to be careful, of course, because if I go like I did before, just showing the script for the first level, then there's not going to be so much secrets left for you guys. So I might have to change that when you're not looking, so that there's something that you still haven't seen for any level. Because if you know the entire script, yeah, where's the surprise, right? Where's the secret? I might actually make that straight, but I'm not sure yet. I might have to. I think that's better. Let's move those right. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. How do you remove that point? Doesn't really. Let's first see if it works at all. So that one, and let's go for the ground moving. It also needs to connect it. And this one out. Let's just do this one straight so that we know exactly that they can walk on this entire area without an issue. Let's go. Because they shouldn't get stuck, obviously. There's a point here I didn't see. That should do it. Obviously, also make this a little tighter because only that part should be. Not that we should be able to get to the bottom of the bridge, but yeah, you know, gamers do stuff that I never thought was possible in other games. So let's make sure it doesn't pose a problem in my own game. So first of all, I will want to see if um, our player can actually walk on that. So let's check that out. You bet when Gaia comes out, I'm playing with my monitor off. Right, that would be cool. When it ever is out, I really would like to see people who are blind enjoying it. So I'd really be very interested to see how it plays for them. Okay, we have an issue here. Apparently we have a collider here that I cannot cross, but I don't see it. Oh, jump. Wow, I jump a little higher than I thought. Well, I'm gonna have to fix that too. But there's stuff working against me here that shouldn't be. I don't see anything that is in the way. See, the collider herself might be an issue. Why did I have a box? I only have a box collider on here. Yeah, then I will not be able to keep going. I don't understand why I ever put a box collider on her. That should be a capsule collider or a polygon collider at least. But I would say that this should become a capsule collider. I really don't understand why I ever did that. So let's put on capsule collider instead. Let's change it. Is it me or is that just barely visible at all? You can hardly see it. I want to left most likely because the right side is just her body. I would stairs with it. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to redo that one that we just had. Also have a problem here. Another friction part. Odin. I'm gonna have to disable Odin. Odin is a little bit of a thing. I was supposed to have one like a free license for Odin Inspector. I never could get it to work, so that really sucked. It was from the Unite. I got it, but couldn't get it to work. Whenever I tried to to use it, they say it was not valid. So that's really a terrible thing to give somebody something that you cannot actually use. So we need to have somewhere in here to put the physics material frictionless. That works. Now the problem is gone. Just the wrong collider. The box collider was bumping into the stairs, basically, in the inclining platform, and that made it a problem. Also, what I now will have, and still has a problem, by the way, but we'll figure that out later. I don't want to do that now. What we still also have is that there's a collider, basically, the polygon collider here, which is for the boundary of the level. To edit this now, because otherwise we cannot move beyond that. It's basically a bounding collider to make sure that the camera doesn't go out of bounds, basically doesn't go further than where we want to go. But that means to make sure that our level can continue, I also will have to stretch that out further. So let's for now just put it here. And also this one. So then we can still keep going until the bridge and the camera will keep going with us. That's basically the reason I had that. Because you want your camera to stay within a certain threshold. You don't want it to go where nobody can walk, because then you can see parts of the level that you don't want them to see, basically, right? Yeah. Now we can see that we can walk all the way to here. We wouldn't want to walk further now, because then we will just fall into the void. But this works, and that's what we want. Right. So that's good. I will have to get through that error soon. I hate errors. So I don't know if you're still here, Baka Bros, but if you are, how was your stream? Did it go well? Guess you're not here anymore anyway, but if you're not, then it's fine. But if you are, please let us know how was your stream and what were you able to do today? 'Cause, we want to know that stuff, right? We really do. That one, this one, those two, and copy those. Control D, so I can go to the other side of the water. Select any place. I think somehow we're lower on this side. Doesn't really matter much, but perfection will come later. Just want to have something that we can keep going. And then I will work later on animating that the bridge actually opens. This stuff really, it doesn't really go the way I want it. Oh, hydrate and stretch. Let me first stretch because I think you did that first. Get points way too fast, Patrick. Yeah. And hydrate. Yeah. Anyway, you're the only one active right now, so I cannot complain. Thank you for being here and thank you for keeping me sharp and hydrated and stretched. That's very important. I don't know about you, but most developers, like me, we don't stretch nearly enough. So whenever we need to, we don't. Then we get a bit of a problem, and we get very how do you say that? Very we need to get more stretch because otherwise we will hurt ourselves. Let's keep going. Basically, all the way. Yeah, that will not update yet, but it will in a moment. So bear with me. Now, as soon as I click, there we go. It's expanding all the way. So now you can see that we will have a stretched water reflection all the way over. So no matter what we put in our level after this, we will still be able to keep going and have that look good. The kennel walls, by the way, I'm not 100% happy with, but um, as I said before, I'm not great with the level design part. I'm gonna have to get better, but it's really hard. I wish I'm gonna have to set it up a little easier so that um, panel wall 1 and 2 and everything will be in order. I will do that later. I will move them all in order because now it's like everywhere. It's annoying, but yeah, we're gonna get it working. Boom, there we go. Control D it again and let's get going. So just to make sure that we have a little bit more of an idea of what level parts we will have in here, um, I'm gonna now put in the buildings. The building that we actually were working on before. So in case it will be the chief or the- let's see what we did with bakery. Just check 64 full ranked point no filter. So 64 full ranked point no filter apply. And then we can just basically drag that one right in. Now all the way there. Neatly puts everything at 0, 0. I'm kind of happy with that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Cheese store only, mister. I'm going to have to change this because now I'm getting this directly from how much stress redeems do you think would be the same as 1 hour workout? That's a good question. I have no clue, man. That's a very good question indeed. Um, I'm going to have to change this one in A Sprite so I take out Gaia because she should be in here. This looks like it's nicely on the ground. Let's put the cheese store. We have it open. And let's turn this one off. And there. I think you need quite a lot of stretch redeems to do a workout of 1 hour. I should maybe see if I can do like a limit of the amount of stretches you can do, because I've seen a lot of people have the problem with drinking. If you do like million hydrates after each other, then all you end up with is me having to go to the toilet. And that might be fun for you guys, but not so much for me. So now you at least have two of the buildings that are going to be like iconic in this game. So then we will have, and that's what I want to try and do now. A little further on, we get the Rijksmuseum in the distance, so you will see it further away. I'm gonna have to figure out how I do that with buildings like background super far away, so that you can see it. And yeah, for that, people will probably say like, "Why then on earth did you put so much detail into it?" Because I can, and maybe because I want to zoom into it. I don't know yet. I have to figure that out. That's all part of the level design experience and the building of it. So um, I'm gonna have to figure that out as I go because I really don't know yet. At least the canal walls are a lot more uh, long than they were before. So I'm gonna have to figure out also after a while how to go from water and canal wall into normal ground because that's where basically you will see the Rijksmuseum part. So what I can at least now do is put some more buildings in there. Basically, do a copy of like building 1 to 6 Control D. I hate how it does this, but yeah, let's put them all behind uh, building 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. Because I want to put those on the other side of the bridge to have some fill up as well. Like I said, blocking out the level, right? And I'm going to put a layer of building background. So we can see a little bit more um, for the distance, and we can do some parallax effects soon, so we can actually see the distance go slower or faster depending on where they are. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's select all those and just move them over. And continue the ground a little further as well. 24, 24, control. By the way, if you want to know how I make them so easily attached to each other, that's just by holding control when I drag them. I am saying that I'm beginner friendly. Those are the kind of things that I should at least explain because that's not something everybody knows. But yeah, it's basically the easiest way to expand on this without having gaps in between. Again, let's stretch again the water reflection to match. Or maybe I should not match it all the way and just go up until here, and then maybe the water just fades away and we go into max of tips I saw on Twitch was on stream sundown. It was 300 tips only. 50 of them was me. I'm going for Coke next, at least 100 tips. Yeah, well, whenever you say hydrate here, I just drink not one sip, but just a good amount. I try to do it myself anyway as well, but you know, you sometimes forget. It's not that you want to forget, you just do. It's part of life. You're busy, you forget to drink. But then it's good that somebody tells you to hydrate so you don't forget. But yeah, I mean, for me doing an entire workout of an hour, that would be something different. I've seen somebody else stream one day, and he has a treadmill underneath his desk, and you could redeem him playing Tetris while walking on the treadmill. That was kind of cool. And he would play the new version of Tetris, which is pretty cool on its own. And he would play it while walking. That is pretty amazing, I would say, and also pretty hard to do, um, but really cool. So we have these, and then I think somewhere around here, I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm doing with the ground for this, but I don't know that yet. But I would go for a building's backgrounds layer. So let's put a new one in. Empty, called buildings backgrounds in the backgrounds. I want to have it a little bit clear because I have backgrounds of buildings also, so it's not always the clearest if I do it like that. But then for that one, I could put the Rijksmuseum in there. So let's also put this one in 64. Put it on full rect. Apply that. And before I do anything, let's make sure that I open it here because there I still have the reference layer here. I want to take that out. Save it, and it should be infinite loop. Import loop has been detected. Hmm. That is something I've never seen before. Anyway, let's see if I can actually use it. So yeah, I guess so. Like it's not yet perfect, but it is gonna be in here. It is a huge building, so I'm gonna have to scale that down and put it more in the background. Or actually, it might just be able to stay this size. I'm not sure yet, but let's put it where we want it to be. So I'm gonna put it more in the little higher because there's gonna be some ground underneath. It's gonna not be on the same height as the rest of it is. And then maybe let's scale it down to 0.75. And I will have to later make sure that I keep the ground going or something at least, so that we have some other layers in between. And this just looks like it's super far away because it's actually still going to be big because that museum is massive. Makes sense that it looks big still if it's in the background. Save the level first, and let's see how we like it. Obviously, we can still walk over the water. Oh, and I already know a problem because obviously I didn't change most likely didn't change the 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 polygon collider for this one, so it probably will fall straight through. Let me see if that's the case. Yeah, there you go. Boom, there you go. You have to change that one too. The ground, bridge, right ground. Polygon. I don't even have one. That makes it harder. Polygon collider 2D. Change it. I mean, as much as I like the Polygon collider, they make a mess out of the initial thing that you get because this really looks like crap. We already decided we want to have it more flat, so you don't really have a problem walking up and down it no matter where you go. There we go. And this to go down. That should be it for this one. Then the ground moving also doesn't have one. Component polygon collider 2D. There we go. And edit that thing. So we should have, and this is going to be the tricky part, we should have an area still in the middle where we could theoretically fall through. Because, as you might have noticed, there's a tiny little gap in there. Package manager is now going crazy. There's a tiny little gap in there um, that we might fall into. I hope not, but we're going to have to test that. In the end, it will probably not be that big of a problem because you're going to have to jump there. Um, and what I'm going to definitely do is have some leniency with the jumping, especially for the people who are blind, because yeah, you're going to have to jump, but you're going to have to jump at an exact time, then it's going to be quite difficult if you're blind to do that correctly. Yeah, them to fall into the water every time, right? Because that frustration mechanics, if you ever saw them. So let's see. To be able to know. Since added Unity Personal. I've suddenly changed licenses. I don't even know that. Works. Okay, the camera still doesn't go any further, so I have to also fix that. To go a lot further with the camera because I want to see the next museum. Gaia also. I really do want the camera to see it. This is going to have to change later as well in the way how I do this, because obviously you will not want to keep going forever to change this polygon collider. But I do need a bounding box because I don't want the camera to just be able to go everywhere, right? So let's see how it will look to see the Rijksmuseum. I hope I can still see it. No, I cannot. Too far away to actually see it. I have to expand on this to get there, but that I can do. It's far enough. I don't want to go further than that because we're gonna have to change it. For how long are you planning to stream? I'm planning to stream at least until 10, maybe a little longer. I don't know. Depends on how I feel. Been quite tired lately, so yeah. And yeah, it's a pretty quiet stream today. Not a lot of people are interacting except for you. Thank you very much for doing that, by the way. Um, so yeah, let's see how long I hold on. I would like to get something going here, and I'm liking that we have some progress. We have a little bit of a level. We can keep going, and now we can see the Rijksmuseum. Then probably we'll have to go even further into the background to look good, and probably a bit lower. Put it lower. Put it down. The water reflection is always so wrong. So there, and then I'm gonna make it even smaller, so like 0.5 probably, so that it looks like it's small. Because of all the details that are in it, it will still look nice. Let me just check it. We're gonna have to keep walking further and further, but the mechanics are gonna make it more interesting because opening a bridge, you have to jump over, you have some cutscenes. That will keep it longer. Otherwise, you just move through this level in 20 seconds, and yeah, that's not very interesting, of course. We want to have a little bit of a thing describing things that she sees, um, her walking, her getting a dialogue with that, and yeah, her brother. Okay, could you tell me what time is for you right now? I have no way to tell. It is right now 9:37. Where are you from anyway, Patrick? I never ask you. Okay, so it looks okay. I'm pretty happy with that. And the depth of this will have to come later with extra layers that we put. So let me put some extra buildings in the background. This one will have detail. The other ones will not. Will just basically be colored blocks or something. So that you at least know that that's an iconic building. That will also help with showing that this one has uh, more of detail, basically. And I'm gonna have to work again also, like I showed you before. The camera you see now, it zooms out and in, but I need to work on the depth, the levels that it zooms in or out, because I do want it to show better the building. Like for example, the bakery when you run, uh, as you see now, you only see part of it. You don't see the top, and there's a lot of detail also in the top. So I would like to be able to, when you walk, also see the top of that. Right. And after this, basically what we're going to have to do is put in the triggers, put in the audio cues, put in things that we can interact with so that we're going to get a little bit more interesting of a level. Um, and that will be probably not all of it today. That's a bit too much, but we're getting somewhere. We're having some iconic buildings. We can see something here in the Czech and Europe. So the time is for me to say, cool, very nice. Czech Republic, nice. What part of the Czech Republic are you in? Cannot say. I've been in Prague only, but that's quite a long time ago, and I remember that I really liked Slibovic. I hope I pronounced that correct, by the way, because obviously there's for me no way to know. Um, so I'm gonna just put some gray buildings in the background. So here we can put some maybe copies of the buildings, but put them smaller, further away, grayscale, so that they're like more shadows than anything else. They don't need detailing. Hmm, camera was flickering on my screen. I hope it's not flickering for you guys. Some weird things. Hmm, hmm, doesn't mean- By the way, for those of you who are helping me play that game yes, I mean Praha and Slivovic, but I don't know Slivovic. I don't know. It's that drink that you guys have, that very nice alcoholic beverage. I don't know if you write it differently, but I think they pronounced it back then as Slivovic. But I don't know if my pronunciation is any good because I've never learned to speak Czech. But yeah, just a human being. I cannot do everything. I think at least one of the things that I will do next week is to put in parallaxing. I've done this before, but it's been a while, so I'm gonna have to look in one of my other projects how I did the parallaxing back then. I think there was parallaxing in here already, but I don't know for sure. Let me see if there's a script for it. Probably not. Nope. Oh yeah, there's parallax controller and parallax layer. I can do that. Let me see if I can just easily take them. Yeah, most likely I can. Let's do some coding. Are you rollers parallax controller? No. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong project. Then I will never find it. That makes no sense. We have it there, so we are gonna make it in the other one. But tell me if I pronounce it anywhere close to what it's supposed to be pronounced like. If not, then feel free to correct me. I don't mind at all. Scripts. Let's go for create folder. So layer. Oh, if I click correctly, we will. Create C# scripts. Layer. Yes, it wasn't perfect, but I would understand you. Okay, well that's good enough. I'll 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 settle for that one. It's good enough for me. If you would understand it, then I'm happy. But yeah, I do remember that Praha was a very nice city for me to see, basically. So yeah, Let's see. Where did we go? Naming conventions in open solutions and update settings accordingly. Click configure to change. Writer sometimes has things that I don't really like, but okay. The gates. On to position. Stop doing that. It is something that I really cannot handle if I'm a bit laggy. Oh, okay. I don't have any dropped frames though. So I think I would say I'm doing okay, but can be laggy. Obviously, that is possible. Not much I can do about it though, most likely. This of parallax camera, parallax layers, of course. And we call that parallax. The system is quite nice because basically what you can do with this is that you can create an infinite amount of parallax layers, and that will help because doing that can set as many um, different layers of it and make it look nice. So the more, of course, you use, the more detail you can bring into your layers, and that is usually something that people want. Nope. And it's quite easy to set it up after you write the script, of course. Um, you have to find the layers that have the correct uh, setting. So they need to be set up as being a parallax layer. And then we can start moving them set based on some parameters that we actually are setting up here. Camera position about why. So let's go here for wait update. And again, I don't like private in front of it. It's not needed. Just overhead. I hate overhead. Some people don't care about it, but I always take them out. I don't like that I'm being laggy, by the way. Let's see if I can see that for myself. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Sorry that I'm a bit laggy. I cannot really change it, I guess. It's just somehow being extremely slow. Okay. Transform position X, not display. My old camera position X. Or I saying, here's my old camera position, but why? Yep. Here's the zero. All basically not there. Back to two. Change. Change is new vector 2. Hold camera position dot x minus the camera transform position y. No, x. Hold position y minus. Yeah, I guess I'm still laggy. I don't want to be, but I am. Sorry about that. I hope it's not too terrible. And you are still able to follow along. Camera move. What we want to do is camera position. Right. Also, view to lens. That's what. Okay. Just find layer because we didn't make that yet. Find layer. Clear them first. Funny that it doesn't always recognize. So basically what I'm doing here is that I'm going to go through a list of layers that we have that are set up as being parallax layers. So we're going to have to find them. And to do that, first we want to clear the entire list and then look through the child nodes that we have to see if there's a parallax layer in there. So then we will find it based on the transform get child. So in this case, I, of course, get components. But we want to get the component parallax layer off of that. So that's not going to be like, but like this, parallax layer. And that should get you the layer that you want to do something with. So if the layer is not null, so if we found one, then our parallax layers, we can add one. Now we do that every time, obviously, to make sure that we don't just keep adding new ones, but we just audio is lagging as well. Not that. I'm gonna have to see how I can fix that because that is annoying. I can imagine. Okay, so that one is done. So let's go to the move layer. We also need to move the layer. And yes, you could also do Control or Alt Enter Enter on the one that was missing. That would do the same thing. I'm kind of still used to Alt and Control Dot, which is something that I had in Visual Studio. But yeah, I have half a year that I can use this, so why not? Right? Let's use it because everybody always tells me that the integration of Rider into Unity is better. But I still have some things that I really don't like about it. But I mean, everybody their own, right? Position. Uh, it's weird. This definitely recognize. Well, it would if I put my variables in there. That helps. But still it should also know this function, and it says it cannot. It's because we don't have parallax layers yet. Do. Sometimes I even surprise myself how stupid I can be. Of course, we need to do this one. Otherwise, it will never get working. That's how it goes, right? So, yeah. Move over. Let's put some variables in here. We have a range. It's going to be between -1, and y is between -1 and 1. Basically, because for using your parallax layers, you will. This is something I don't like about um, big friends of Rider. They just keep thinking for you, but they do it wrong. That I don't like. So in the parallax plane that you have, basically 1 is the furthest away, -1 is here, like here, or the other way around. I always confuse them, but I have to figure that out again before I set them up. But basically, that is um, the camera at -1 is super far away. So if you put somewhere in between, you can within a certain way so that it looks like basically. And again, it does a stupid thing where it just enters this in a way that I don't want. Non-serialized one. Public vector 3. Private. And here we also will have the public void move layer. And you will need also the float position, back position, float position. Wow. So now the new position will become the transform, your local position. New position of X. Make sure that I don't do it too early, which I sometimes do. Position change at X, of course, not Y. times the parallax amount. We always have the parallax amount that we need, times 40. Don't ask me why. I figured it out in the previous time that I did this, that it was the best way to put it. We will do the same for the y, of course. New position y minus equals position change. Oh, oh. Sometimes it is smart, sometimes it's not. I have to do, oh, by the way, I forget the minus sign there. Parallax amount times 40 again. And this also feels still, I'm going to have to look at this later one day. Feels like we should be optimizing this because I'm doing the same thing twice, just with the y and an x. I think I can make that into a function or something. I don't want to do it now. Local position is the new position. And that should fix my parallax controller. Feel something it doesn't know. Okay, import. Enter. Enter. There we go. Anything else? We still. This is camera domain. Expensive. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Totally didn't see that. Good thing I spotted it, but totally missed it. Hey, Half Moon, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Oh, Patrick, thanks for the hydrate. I missed it. Well, we'll go. It's almost 10. Bye. Good night. Thank you, Patrick, for being there. And Half Moon, thanks for taking over. How are I doing today? Um, to be honest, I was not doing so great today. I was not feeling good. I was not happy. I'm having a rough day. And yeah, that's basically what my day was. So I'm happy that I'm streaming because, I feel nice when I'm streaming. I like playing around with what we're doing. I put that one to Patrick still. Didn't see it, wasn't watching the screen. Um, but in case you weren't watching before, we've been doing a lot recently. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't sound too good, I know. Um, there's a lot of things going on. I will not bore you with it, but maybe in the Discord I will talk about it a little bit. But yeah, it makes me feel a little less happy. Um, yeah, and then streaming basically is a very good pick me up, and I will feel a lot better now. Um, if you weren't watching before Half Moon, maybe you were just lurking. I know you do that sometimes. Then I will show you what we've been working on today. We've basically upgraded the level a lot. So now we have some pillars. Um, and what I just was working on is the parallaxing script that I can do the background and everything and make sure that things are moving slower or faster depending on what we're doing here. So yeah, as you can see, we can go all the way. We see the Rijksmuseum. I put some key elements in here. I'm going to have to change the ground based on where we are. So the first part will just be all canals. We will go all over this place. And then at the end, we will go into the park. In the beginning of the stream, I did this. I basically went through the script of the first level that I wrote for this. And that also gives a little bit of pointers what we're actually going to have to do in the first level, what we need in the first level. So for sure we need the bakery. That will be decorated with some flowers and stuff. Seagulls on the roof that make their typical sea sounds. And then we get a lot of buildings. One at least will be pink because it's her favorite color. Will be a key element where she stops and points at it. You get colorful houses, bikes, boats in the canal, and an old-fashioned drawbridge. Well, the drawbridge is in, so we already seeing it. We will have that gameplay element where we start to move. We then control her and jump over the drawbridge. Then yeah, I'm trying to get back to her with my boy Luca. We stop. She stops for a second and wonders about the boats that she sees in the canal. It says moat here. I have to change that, by the way. In the canal, and listens to the sound of the water splashing against the walls. Then she realizes the bridge is opening too far and starts to run, and she will have to jump over. Once she jumps over, she keeps running, figures out that there's a lot more. So she runs past the huge museum into the neighboring park, which is the Vondelpark in Amsterdam. It's surrounded by a large fence made of cast iron. She runs through the gate, and after that, she sees a portal rise up from the ground a little further along the path. So that makes that we have a little bit of space where we can actually get her moving. That also means that we need a park still. We need ground for a park and stuff like that. Um, and we will see through the portal a little bit of the first level that we will go through of Greek mythology. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do that, but it's going to pop out. We're going to be able to see it. And um, I actually see that. And then when she's through, it vanishes and Gaia's gone and the game will actually start. So that's why I was starting to write this out first. And then actually we went here so we can actually start and block that out and actually have a little bit more of a level than we had before. Um, and of course, I also hope Half Moon that it goes better soon. And I'm happy that I'm live. I mean, you guys already know this, but I really love streaming for you guys, and um, that's also why I'm sometimes a little bit down, maybe when nobody is talking and it feels a little boring and alone. Um, and I sometimes can feel pretty much alone anyway. So then I hope not to feel like that during my stream. But obviously, it can not always be helped, right? Sometimes you guys are busy, you will not talk. But it does feel a little bit lonely when nobody's talking. So yeah, I'm happy that people are here, and Patrick was here most of the time. I know Incredibro was not able to come today because it was too late for him. It was 6:30 in the morning. Uh, I can imagine that you cannot do that. So yeah, it's what it is, right? But let's hope that we get some more numbers in the stream sometimes, and people are actually coming to look, and they will see that we're actually building something quite nice. And I hope that once we get further along the level and we get to see more of the functionality here, like the bridge opening up, actually jumping over, uh, and then it being impossible for me and my son to follow her, that will actually start to feel more like a game, and then we can start to work on making the mechanics so that uh, blind people, deaf people, and everybody can actually play this without problems. That is my goal for the next coming weeks, to make sure that this becomes interesting, that the mechanics work, that we can jump, that we can do everything that we need, um, and basically introduce some things that we need, like the I have the ambrosia already that you see. Um, but yeah, there's still a lot of things that will have to happen, like the sound cues for jumping. I need to fix these little errors, like the null reference exception that I get right now, which is something to do with the friction. And for whatever reason, this thing is always looking for something that might not always be set. Um, so I think I'm going to probably be able to pretty easily fix it, but I keep postponing that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just a normal human being, and sometimes I don't want to fix those things, but I'm going to have to. So I think I might look at it now, see what is going on there. So in line 44, it basically is looking for a collision, a shared material. So I guess if there's no rigid body on there, it might not work. Let's see if this helps, because that probably is the reason why it's going on. Something is null, and I do not know which one. Could also be the collision, because we're having collisions on it. So could actually be that. Well, I don't see an error now, so I wonder where I set the error. The 100 anyway, because it's there somehow. But So we see the iconic buildings, and obviously they will change, but still, I don't get any error anymore. That fixed it. So I did a debug.log somewhere that said 100, but I don't remember where I put that. I'm gonna have to find that. Probably somewhere something super simple like it says 100, or probably debug.log somewhere in my controller or something. Play controller probably. Nope. Really wondering where I did it. Health? No. Oh yeah, there. Current health is 100. But yeah, we're getting some progress. What I like about the fact is that I seriously am terrible at level design, but we did some level design today. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but at least it gives me a little bit of an idea of what this is going to look like. I'm going to be able to adjust accordingly. Because, for example, what I don't like right now, and you will be able to see that in a moment if I keep walking again. Well, now I'm suddenly stuck for whatever reason in between the buildings. Don't know what happened there. I wasn't before. Anyway, uh, I get the error again. That's funny. Anyway, I don't see the top of the bakery when I'm walking. That's for me something still. There's too much detail in that building not to see the top, right? So we're gonna have to tweak those things a little bit, the cameras, because we have those several different cameras with the system, the state-driven camera system. So we can play with this. So we can say, for example, that this run camera, it goes not to a lens ortho sight of 5, but maybe like 8. Let's see what that does, for example. Probably is a bit of a huge change because you just go from being super close to being like extremely far away. Let's see how it goes though. But then we see the top. Look, that works. Might be a bit too fast to zoom out so far, but that will be something that we can play around with maybe in the timeline that we zoom out that far or zoom up because basically now we see something that we don't want to see in the bottom. But these kind of things are what we're going to have to play with, what I'm going to have to play with to make this stuff a little bit more interesting to do and to actually um, make this very interesting to do. Um, to show the buildings from far away, to show the details that are there, because otherwise you don't see them, and that's a shame. Um, yeah, basically that. And I'm gonna want to, and I always have been wanting to do this. I'm wanting to change this window still to a transparent window because I didn't do that yet, so that our baker can actually walk behind that window of the door as well. Because as you can see, he's there, but as soon as I move him here, he's gone, and then he comes back again. But he is visible. He should be visible through the door. But I'm happy with what we did so far today. I'm not so happy that the error came back. That was not supposed to be. Uh, but let's see why that is, because there's something to do with a collision, and the collision doesn't happen. And why does the collision not happen? Just, let me check it one more time because we see it immediately, or we don't. Because it didn't happen, and now it doesn't. So weird. It's like random. And now once we run, we're a bit too far away. That I would never want to have all the time. But it does work for some of the things. Like, for example, now you can see much more of the Rijksmuseum before we have to zoom back in. I could see it maybe working, but it depends on how we block out and define the area that you can actually see. So a lot of things will be tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. And we're going to have to work now a little bit on the mechanics, the interesting parts, like where do I put the timeline? So we'll have to start the timeline with some dialogues and stuff like that. And then after a certain time, you take over controls, but you shouldn't be able to take any control until then. But I've never, like I said before, I'm not good with Unity timeline. I don't get that thing yet, but I'm going to have to figure it out. That's going to be one of the main things that we're going to look after for the coming weeks to start that cutscene part where we're just walking, standing in front of this building, doing the dialogue with dad and the son, to make sure that that looks nice and interesting, and that you get swept into the story. You hear the sounds of the bakery, you hear everything, you hear the seagulls. Um, Unity timeline is weird and annoying, but it got way better in the last years. Yeah, I'm sure. The only other thing that I could do if that doesn't work for me, or for whatever reason I cannot do it, is that in the first part of the game, I just don't allow any controls and I will move the player for it, and just do it like making it an AI controller basically. So the player is not able to control it himself, but I can. And yeah, that's going to be basically, I guess, what I'm going to be trying to do next week, because I think my time should be coming to an end for now. It's already 10:15. Tomorrow I get up at 5 a.m., so that's pretty early. And let me see where I'm going to take you guys today. Um, what would be interesting? There's a lot of people online, but there's not a lot of people actually doing game dev. Could go to Lana Lux, but Lana Lux has 368 people on stream watching her, so she doesn't even notice that I go and join her. There's Irish John Games that you guys know and love. There's Setolix, there's Practical NPC, Crikit, what the Choo Choo is doing on day 15. Okay. Credit Chronic, who's building an RPG in Unreal Engine 5. The Koppinger, who's a very nice guy, but he's not really doing game development. Coding with Strangers also doesn't do any game development. So it's basically limited to those choices. Um, and I think let's just let's just go to day two, maybe Cricket. What the choo choo is going on? Day 15 out of 28. Maybe I'll check it first to see what he's doing. Just to see what we're actually up against. What is the stream? He's doing Godot in C sharp. Okay, nice. And Devro is watching, who's saying that I was not doing any game development last time. But yeah, not sure. JD does dev, is also doing Godot game development. I don't know. What do you guys think? Who we should raid? Oh, Hydrate. Thanks for that. You just caught me on time. By the way, have how many points do you have by now? You must have like a ton. Can't even begin to think I'm at 18K. Oh my goodness. You're one of the most points hogging guys that we have on this stream. Anyway, let's go to Catholic. I like Catholic because he's always nice and positive. So I'm gonna stream him. Eight. So some people have those rate messages that they set, but I have no clue how to do that stuff. I will see what the future will bring for my points. I guess a lot of song redeems or something. Or maybe I should make different things that we don't have yet. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching, and enjoy Settlix a little bit. Um, I hope you're gonna have a good time. He's always nice to his people, so enjoy, and I'll see you guys next week.